everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
Back.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The line. The line. New man on the so fine. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
Finally, Let's Talk Football. The Round Table has come back to you, baby. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo. That's Let's Talk Football, and today is Monday. It's Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. But I'm here with my guys. I'm here with my people. Delilah Crispo. Nicholas Rosario, Nate Snell will be with us a little bit later. What's up, guys? How are we feeling today?
Feeling like a 7-Up, my friend. Feeling like a 7-Up. Remember that old tagline from the Oak River? Feel like a 7-Up. Man, it's Monday. It didn't snow 25 inches, so I was able to get home on time for, that's so great.
Nice.
I don't know, just if I were to play the nachos, I'm good. Oh, it's nice now.
How is it out there?
It's about mid-30s. We're good. The snow is melting a little bit. It's all right. It's good.
Supposed to be 41 tomorrow, so I feel good,
Chicago will survive. We'll rise again, my friend. We'll be okay.
Oh, so it's going to be in the 40s. So, I mean, that's shorts and short sleeves for y'all, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
For this town it is.
That's barbecue weather, baby. Let's be out there.
Right?
Get the grill going.
Hey, so glad. I'm so glad to be back with you guys. Another week. I don't know. I had a good weekend. I don't know how y'all's weekend was. Nick, you and I was watching Elimination Chamber last night.
I caught the wrestling pay-per-view last night, of course, WWE. That's always fun because we can just talk a bunch of BS and just watch. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I love that. I thought that was dope. Hey, real quick, I know I didn't talk to you guys about this before, but I had a couple people that it was their birthday today, and I just wanted to shout them out.
Happy birthdays.
Little happy birthday section. So I want to shout out first Rosemary Walsh, one of my fiance's co-workers, one of the most amazing diehard Steelers fan. Love you to death. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Greg Adams.
Rosemary, I hope you get a quarterback next year, but I'm pumped.
Right? I want to shout out Greg. Shout out Greg Adams. I went to high school with this guy.
Okay.
Really great guy. Getting on that guitar, he doing his thing, man. Shout out to you, man. Happy birthday to you, man. I don't know if I was gonna get to see you today, so definitely want to say that. And a friend of my adopted sister, Jen Allen, Amy Gagliardi, her birthday's today too. Definitely want to just send it out to you guys. Hope you're watching. If not, I'll definitely shoot you this video because I appreciate y'all and y'all are great. I want to take that minute to do that. But as we know, it's still February, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe this is the last show in February that we'll do.
It is.
Because I believe next Monday is the March 1st. So as it being February, it is Black History Month still. I've been watching all my movies. I know you guys have been got to get down and seeing documentaries and stuff. Hey, guys, I'm going to take this minute to just say Will Smith has done something on Netflix with that. Talk about the 14th Amendment. It's called Amend. Check it out, guys.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to check that out. Yeah, I saw that.
I will be checking it out. Yep, I'll be checking it out.
Kat and I were watching that earlier, and it definitely it was such a good spin. It was fact. It was history. But at the same time, it had like little cartoons. It wasn't a cartoon, but it's illustrations. It was just a really good visual way to, to show how it is.
I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Put that on the list.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But, you already know what it is, and we already got people watching. What's up, Brandon? How you feeling, man? We're going to go ahead and get into it.
Oh, it's not my birthday, but thank you, Brandon. No, it's not my birthday.
I saw that.
Delilah, it's your birthday, Delilah. You didn't tell us?
Right? I was like, oh, dang, Delilah. Okay.
No, but thank you.
So like we said, this month, Black History Month, and what better way to end it than to talk about the great Jim Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The great. Some dub him as the greatest running back of all time. It's definitely arguable, but at the same time, the things that he did for the game in just that short amount of time, those 10 years, and then to leave and have the impact that he's had throughout the NFL world and the social justice world and things of that nature is just is out of this world. Out of this world. Born James Nathaniel Brown, went to Syracuse, finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy when I think Paul Hornung won that year. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the late great Paul Hornung. But at that time, there was a lot of color issues that were going on. So no matter how great Jim Brown was, and Jim Brown was absolutely amazing. I mean, this guy was inducted into the Hall of Fame in lacrosse as well as football. So in college. Right. So this guy was absolutely amazing. But at the time, because of the racial barriers, the fact that he even got in 5th in the Heisman running was leaps and bounds. That was a huge, huge deal.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with these kind of things, Shai, just real quickly, like it's not just so much that, people say, well, Jim Brown's career can, you can compare other people to what he did and all this, but it's what he went through as a person and as a human during the time that he did play. Like I tell you, I take that as a consideration. That's why Muhammad Ali will always be the greatest to me, because it wasn't just he was the best boxer, but it's everything Ali went through to get there. It never deterred him. It never, it never got him down. He moved forward. He spoke his piece. He did what he had to do. And that's why with Jim Brown, it's the same thing. Like, he probably didn't play as long as some of these other running backs, and he doesn't have all the rushing records and all that stuff. But when you think about what Jim Brown went through in his life, and at the time he played, how do you, there's not a better man to come out of the end of that than, again, he was a spokesman for his time for Black
justice. I like your comment, Brandon. He was the Rock before the Rock, right? He had that charisma, that style. He was a good, he was a good shit talker, right? He just,
totally. He was that guy. He was, but it also speaks to the person that he is, that he did only play 10 years. He was, when he left the game, much like Barry Sanders, he was the best, period. There was nobody better than him.
He left on top.
You know what I mean? And he left and then went into acting. A lot of guys would not have left the field in a place where they had just won an NFL championship in 64. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this man had broken record. Like he was amazing. But in his mind, there was other things he needed to explore. And I love that. It took a lot of courage to do that, to leave the game.
Especially at that point. So, especially going to Hollywood during that time, still a lot of still prejudice and all that stuff. So, it's like, but he was a name. See, Jim Brown was a name.
Right.
You could put him in a movie starring Jim Brown or, blah, blah, blah. So
exactly.
He was a name.
Exactly. And a lot of the Black community could jump onto that. One of the movies I remember the most, and y'all probably remember this as well, The Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen,
Great movie, classic movie. And every time I watch it, I always get to that point at the end of the movie. I was like, oh man, he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it. And then when he dies, I'm just like, oh
no, not Jim.
Hollywood.
At
least he wasn't first to go. Right. At least he wasn't the first to go. All right, I'll take it.
He did not die first, right? So there you go.
He did not.
So definitely have to
first. What's up with that? No, that's another topic for another day.
He had so many other movies. 3 the Hard Way with Fred Williams, said the hammer for the Chiefs. The slams he did. And not only that, and I'm glad you brought up Muhammad Ali. The Black Hammer. I'm glad you brought up Muhammad Ali because he was a part of a group of great African American athletes at that time that came together with him. Lou Alcindor, also known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right?
Yeah. Muhammad Ali, Russell, all those guys came together at a time where you were putting. I mean, we think about Kaepernick and the thing that he did, but with Jim Brown, a lot of these players were playing. A lot of these players were young and fresh, and they were putting their professional careers or their athletic careers on the line. Because they felt like they needed to take a stand. So. like my dad says, the difficult we do right away. The impossible takes a little longer. So I got to shout them out just for doing all the great things that he did.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what this month is about. It's about highlighting those men, women who furthered the cause for minorities, blacks, especially during this month. Who furthered the cause, man. Who
absolutely.
Equality should be for everyone. Like we're all born, and unfortunately, one day we're all going to die. But you know what? While we're here, man, we should just be nice to each other. That's all. Just
absolutely.
Time, bro. Everybody saying, Delilah? It's ridiculous.
I was gonna say that everyone deserves dignity, and that they shouldn't be treated differently for just because of their skin color or any other reason. But I was gonna be I'm gonna be at the first movie I saw Jim Brown was The Running Man. So that's the first, because I know he was in other stuff, but I saw him in The Running Man as the villain. That was the first movie I've seen him in, and then as I got older, then I started watching all like the black exploitation stuff he was in.
And he was in it. Of course, he was in most of them.
Exactly.
So that's what's up, and honestly, we could go all day because he had 10 years of his pro career, but he also had such an amazing after pro career, even up to this day, and all the things that he does,
and activism.
Yes. And so we gotta shout him out, man. We have to, and no better way to end Black History Month, or at least this segment, with talking about somebody that's been so influential in the game, but not only the game, but in society, making it a better place. Shout out to you, Jim Brown. Yeah. I like that. So real quick, I'm going to go over to Delilah because we had some pretty good news for one of the Super Bowl combatants, Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes and his fiancee Brittany welcomed the baby girl into the world. So just, congratulations to you both, and congratulations on your new baby girl. God bless. Wish you guys the best in your new little family.
Nice. And we got Minnie Mahomes now. Should have called her Minnie. That would have been better. Minnie Mahomes.
Yo, shout out to you for having the baby. Definitely.
New baby girl.
Hey, hopefully you can get another ring for next year. We'll see how that goes.
I mean, a consolation prize for not winning the Super Bowl. Your daughter was born.
Right.
So there you go. You're still a winner.
Right.
You're still a winner.
Right. He'll be able to remember this. He'll have good memories of this year because of that. So let's go.
And then somebody will probably slam me for saying that the baby was a consolation prize. So there you go.
That's on you. Hey, y'all need. Hey, here he is.
I know.
Nick Rosario.
Right.
He's poking the bear.
Nick Rosario and Red. Come get me.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into topic number one. We have big news. And Nick, I'm coming to you because you shouted it out at the end of the last show. You said, hey, next week, maybe Carson Wentz will be traded. And he did. He got traded to the Colts.
There we go. Right.
Yeah. So, Nick, man, what was the trade?
So the trade was Carson Wentz goes to the Colts. The Colts, in return, get a 2021 third round. The Eagles in return get the 2021 this year third round pick. They get a 2022 conditional second round that could turn into a first round. And how that happens is that if Wentz needs to play 75% of the Colts offensive snaps for it to get to a first rounder, or he plays 70% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs, then that becomes a first round pick. That's the conditional part of it. So it could turn into a first round depending on how good Carson does with the Colts. But it does make you wonder, though. So here's the biggest thing with this trade. We knew that Carson Wentz was out of Philadelphia. It was just a matter of where he was going to go. Obviously, there was plenty of talk that my beloved Bears were after him. And I'm so glad that didn't happen. It probably happened despite the Bears, because the Bears probably were like, well, gee, what do we do? What are we going to give up for this guy? What are we going to so I'm kind of glad that didn't happen anyways. But a lot of the talk of the trade is that Carson went for kind of, when you think about it, considering the Stafford-Goff trade and how much went there for Matt Stafford, you go, man, Carson Wentz, he didn't play in the Super Bowl, but he basically led the team that entire year. Nick Foles, took over when he got hurt. They won the Super Bowl. Had a phenomenal 2017, obviously, 28, and then 2018 got in, he gets injured and he got the stuff going and he gets benched. You bring out Foles again, like it did. So he's had the up and down there in Philadelphia, but you knew that Wentz was going to get traded. And obviously, Somebody just put up a comment. So I could have Wentz out of the NFC. I love that. That's hilarious. Beast,
well,
you know what he means, though. NFC East, right? But it's amazing because, as you know, as some of you may know, for those of you who follow football that closely, he is reunited with his old coach from Philadelphia, Frank Reich. Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator, all that when he was in Philadelphia, and so now he is reunited, which I think that is the hope here. If Carson Wentz is going to get back on track and is going to get his career going forward, the guy's only 27, 28 years old now, so he's still got some life in him. He could still quarterback for the next, I mean, if he's Tom Brady, the next 14 years, but that's a different story. But, if he can get a good 5-6 years, out of this, can play with the Colts, make them they're already a team that comes with a lot of weapons. Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, T.Y. Hilton, and in the receiving core, and they have a good defense. They have a good, one of the best offensive lines in football, and that's this could be everything Carson needs to get his confidence back, to get him back on track, and to get him going.
Now, Nick, I want to come back to you real quick. How different is Carson Wentz from Phillip Rivers?
Well, see,
you know what I mean?
Well, you know how I feel about Phillip Rivers. But,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not going to lie to you. In my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion. I still think the Colts were better with Phillip Rivers than they will be with Carson Wentz. That's just a personal opinion. I think Carson has a lot mentally to work through, and to get himself back, again, and that's why they're hoping that Frank Reich will be the guy to do that for him. To really get him to clear his head, focus on team, focus on strengthening everything that he's, he holds on to the ball too long. That's, really, that's one of the reasons he gets sacked a lot. He does not get rid of the ball right away. He will hold, try to make the big play, try to be the hero. It's like, no, you need to get that out of your head, man. You got to just make a play when you can. Right? You don't have to. You don't have to always do that. And that's the thing. And I think, so like I said, there's a lot mentally there for Carson Wentz to work on.
Yeah.
But that's my issue with him. And Delilah, I'm coming to you because I want to talk about the Eagles side of this trade. But Carson, they didn't have an O-line this year. And right now, I mean, and I'm gonna ask you this, Delilah. What are they doing in Philly? Because now that you got Wentz out of there and you have Jalen Hurts, I'm like, what's going on?
I mean, they're obviously clearing that cap space, right? So, so it's not just Wentz. I'm sure, those of you out there, paying attention to all the football moves, right? They dropped Rashon Jackson. They're not re-signing Alshon Jeffrey. They're saying as soon as the new season officially begins, he won't be coming back to the Eagles. So, so they are unloading some of those vets that come at a higher price. So that definitely gives them more money, a little bit more wiggle room. Now they get a 3rd round pick, right, with this trade. And so, they come in, maybe they're going to build around Jalen. That's my question. I don't know if it looks like Jalen is going to be their starting quarterback, but is it? Are they going to pick a backup down the line, so they could, that could be like in Miami, right, where the quarterbacks had to kind of duke it out to see who was going to fit that system. So are they going to do that? Or are they going to use the money to actually give Jalen some, some power around him, right? So, I mean, I think Philly's making good money moves. I give them that. They're making really good money moves. And, if they make the best moves, that NFC East. I was gonna say NFC least. Sorry.
Least. Hey, but we're still the least. We're still the least. So that's that. And I'm glad you made that point, Delilah.
It might be, it's gonna be more tricky.
That's the issue. Everybody Dak. We don't know what's gonna happen with Dak. Okay, Washington signed Heineke, but we still don't know what's gonna happen in Washington. And you got to feel like this. Daniel Jones is leading in the Giants, but we don't know about him. So Philly, this is the perfect time to rebuild, Delilah.
Yeah, it is.
They're doing it right now.
Yeah, they're. Oh, happy birthday shout out! Someone wants us to give a happy birthday shout out to Alessio Avalon. Happy birthday, Alessio Avalon.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Alessio. Happy birthday.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the perfect time for them to do that. Honestly, with everything that's going on in the NFC East, let's be clear. these guys had a couple pieces. That D line is nice. Their O line was decimated this year.
Yeah.
And Nick, I'm going back to you. I mean, you're absolutely right. That O line just if Wentz had issues mentally before, that O line didn't help this year.
Right.
No, and it didn't. But again, you still got to be able, though, as a quarterback in your mind to find a way to make a play. And I know that sucks. Like you said, offensive line, it has to be strong a lot of the time for the quarterback, but you got to find a way over that. Like, because there's nothing you can, the 5 guys in front of you are the 5 guys in front of you. It could be there's injuries, so not everybody's playing where they should be. Guys have shifted. I mean, look what happened, real quickly, the Super Bowl. We all saw what happened there when, Kansas City had to shift their line and Tampa Bay ate them up. And that's the thing. Right. And Patrick Mahomes tried, his best to make plays and do all that. This is just what happens. But, yeah, it does fall on the quarterback. And I think Carson, I don't want to say he folded under the pressure, but there was some pressure there. And I think he just, again, mentally, I think he got it in his head that
maybe with the new part, with the
he has to do everything himself. So
being reunited with his coach. I'm saying that maybe good to your point, Nick, is that now that he's going to be with his coach that he kind of prefers and connected with, like maybe that'll help, like you said, through those mental blocks. Either way, the Colts are set up. They're already a playoff team, right? We know that. So, that
begs the question: are they? Yeah. Does this automatically put them back in there? Does this automatically make them one of the top contenders?
Well, they were a playoff team. Is what I'm saying.
Well, they win and lost, but
but still.
I don't think it makes it. It's not as much of a guarantee. I don't think as much of a guarantee as it was a year ago. Like, I didn't have a doubt because I knew Phillip Rivers was a leader. I knew he had that veteran.
See,
Wentz, he doesn't have that
point, Sean. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Point to asking that question. Can Carson get over that, get over the hump, and lead the Colts to the promised land, as it were?
Yeah.
Or does he buckle under the pressure once more? Right.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Once more. Let's remember, this man was an NFL MVP.
Or the coach bringing Nick Foles and he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was.
Wouldn't that be great if the coach brings Nick Foles?
Yeah,
and he wins the Super Bowl.
That would be very interesting.
I couldn't resist that one.
I don't know what y'all do in Chicago.
That's funny,
but it could definitely happen.
Oh, no. Don't even ask that question.
Right. Stay tuned in the coming weeks because this is a lot of what's happening with Philly is gonna directly coincide with the draft and with free agency. Because like we talked about, Alshon Jeffrey is going, Deshaun Watson is going. Yeah. So they have a lot of issues that they need to resolve and things they need to take care of. So this is the time to do it, but it looks like they're stripping it down to the studs. So, hey, Philly, and we're going to get some interviews in the coming week with Philly fan. I know a couple people that would definitely be loving to have this conversation. So we're definitely going to reach out to them. Definitely want to move on, get out of the NFC East. Got to bring in my guy. Got to bring in the guy. I've been meaning to have this video in for so much longer, but I apologize. I didn't do my due diligence, but I'm going to go ahead and bring in my guy, Nate Snell.
Hello, YouTube. I am a mass communications major in journalism and media with a focus with television and radio. The one thing that bothers me is the narrative that the media gives. When I look at the reaction from Ray Rice and Chad Wheeler, I said the same thing in the video in the midst of what happened in Washington, D.C. You see two distinctions of media towards white America and black America.
Shout out to my guy Nathan Snell.
Yeah.
Oh, what up, Nate?
What up?
What up, Nate? Make sure you're there.
What up, man?
What's happening, partner?
I'm doing good. It's Monday.
Good.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
What kind of notes you got for us today, man? But hey,
all right,
man, flex that shirt, man. I love that shirt.
Look at that. Hey.
Wow.
That's old school right there.
But today my notes. I just want to get into more of J.J. Watt's potential landing spots. Pretty much he requested to be released from Houston, and he's been pretty much the talk of the town of where he's going to go. So I have written down some 11 teams that I think are the best fit for him personally. So my first
11, all right.
I said it's Pittsburgh, Chicago, Green Bay, Tampa, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Dallas, Cleveland, Baltimore. Now I did my research. I went on Spot Track and I looked at everyone's cap situation. We all know the way how COVID has impacted the NFL. The league cap was raised to $180 million. So there's a lot of teams still in the red. And I'm looking at Pittsburgh right now. Pittsburgh's $30 million. I'm going to get into Big Ben in a little bit in a minute. So they're $30 million over the cap. Okay. You got Chicago's a little over $5 million. Green Bay has $20 million. Tampa, $9.5 million. Kansas City's over $23 million. You got Jackson. You got, Tennessee, $2 million over the cap. Indianapolis, $68 million. Jacksonville has $77 million. Dallas, $18 million. Baltimore, I didn't write down Cleveland by mistake. And then Baltimore has $18 million. So, again, it's all about, for the right price to get J.J. Watt.
Right.
I'm looking at Pittsburgh, and I'm going to transit. So those are my 11 teams that I think are a potential landing spot for J.J. Watt. Again, if they're going to want a guy like this, these 11 teams are going to have to make some sacrifices. Guys that we know that are going to want to get paid. Because, they may be able to pitch the grass is green on the other side pitch, but we all know that's not going to work with some teams. Example, Pittsburgh, Big Ben. We all know Big Ben is scheduled to make $41 million this upcoming season, and that's a tremendous cap hit. And the GM is on the record saying, "Well, we really we're not committed to him right now because Nick might be surprised with this, but I'd say a potential replacement, even though you have Mason Rudolph." You just signed Dwayne Haskins. Sam Darnold or Matt Jones would be a replacement for Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay. Matt Jones, huh?
Matt Jones.
Interesting. I like that. Well, you got to figure.
Okay.
The only reason why I say that
Pittsburgh's in at 24. Pittsburgh has the 24th pick. So if Mac Jones is still available, that would be very tempting to Pittsburgh, I would think, at 24.
Right.
To pick up a Mac
only
Jones,
reason
possibly.
Saying,
falls that way.
Falls that way, exactly. Now, the reason why I'm looking at Big Ben, had let's say I think he had a year where it was okay. But Pittsburgh's offense was very one-dimensional. For him to throw over 500 yards and with no running attack, Pittsburgh has a lot to
running
work
game.
with.
That's the thing. You have
no running game, and they had to really address some of their needs. I believe Juju Smith-Schuster. Who else here? According to my list, Sean Davis, Mike Hilton, key guys that I think are necessary for the future of this team. And Big Ben is, correct me if I'm wrong, he's 38. So
yeah,
I don't know if I don't know if he's willing to take a pay cut. How much of a pay cut he's going to take. So.
I heard somewhere around $17 million he'd have to take, so that they'd have about $24 million to pay him, and use that 17 towards the 4. As the other part of the 41, take that 17 and use it to get other people. That's what's going around. So you have to restructure Ben and help him. He'd take the 20 million, 24 million. Yeah, so about 17.
And when he takes the $20 million down, that will definitely bring some of the cap down for Pittsburgh. But another thing is too, they got to put an offensive line around them. The offensive line was except Pouncey's now retired, and then the Alejandro.
Well, that's a big one.
So that's a big one too. I wanted to talk about the Ravens. We all know from my Raven fans out there.
Well, of course you did, Nate. Right, probably Ravens fans.
Hey, listen. We all know with Orlando Brown Jr., aka Zeus Jr. Once he tweeted out he wanted to be a left tackle, and I gave in last week's episode 7 potential teams he could be traded to. So I'm looking at the off season for the Ravens and the things that need to be addressed. And obviously, is the offensive line, interior offensive line, the center, and right guard, left guard. Now potentially a right tackle. To me, I thought that I see JJ wants a ring, Rams, Packers, and Bills. That's subjective with the Rams because, I mean, I believe they were 30 million over the cap as well. Now that they got
the Rams don't need him, do they? I mean, not that you couldn't use him. I'm not saying that, but in the scheme of things, the Rams have other needs. They don't need JJ Watt right now. The Rams, you know what I mean? They can do just fine without him.
They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They're fine.
And again,
I think the Rams would go after something else.
I would say though.
Oh, sorry.
They don't need him. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I'm saying, I mean, you never know. You never know how this stuff plays out because we're thinking JJ as a starter.
Right.
Yeah, we're thinking about him as a starter, like on that end. He could just be like a Ryan Kerrigan for Washington, where he comes in so he stays healthy, stays fresh. So I don't know if we can rule out the Rams, but it's unlikely. You guys are absolutely right.
I don't know. Both sides they're balanced, right? That's kind of why they gave away the kitchen sink to get a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah, so they're fine.
Yeah, definitely. But just to continue with the Ravens, I'm looking at guys like Brandon Williams, Calais Campbell, LJ Fort. Brandon Williams, today is his birthday, and unfortunately, it's something about a football player on the wrong side of 30. He got he's got a massive. It was $52.5 million for 5 years, and I'm looking at the cap. I'm looking at Calais Campbell. I believe he's 34, and Baltimore's is going to have to make some major decisions. I really think Calais Campbell might be a cap cut just because of his contract and age, but who knows? I'm looking at Derek Wolfe, free agent. Yeah, I know was in the midst of during last season that they really were interested in bringing him back, so that's good to know. And then also too to really improve on that front line 7, JJ Watt would be a potential person to a guy that Baltimore could sign, but it has to be again at the right price because Pernell McPhee, Judon, Ngakoue, LJ, they're all due to be free agents. So, and I don't know what Judon's asking price is going to be. Pernell McPhee, I know, is going to go out there and probably look for some money, and these guys are not going to take hometown discounts.
Right.
The only one that's not a free agent is Jalen Ferguson. So your front 7, you have to address that. So I'm looking at that, and Baltimore has $18 million to work with, and if they want to get to build the offensive lineup and get a number 1 wide receiver, they're going to have to make some tough cuts, some tough decisions. But I think Eric DeCosta, Dick Cass in the front office know what they're doing. So
yeah.
Did you guys, Nate? Did Dez retire?
No, Dez will be a free agent this year too.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I think it's best that for Dez he find. I don't see Baltimore re-signing him just because I think somebody young could be there more. Okay. And I think and don't remember, Dez did step up when we needed him. But it's just I just think again the direction if I'm looking at this team right, the direction that Baltimore is going in, it's going to have to be a lot of young receivers around Lamar. And no disrespect to Dez Bryant, but I don't think Dez Bryant does not fit Baltimore's system.
Okay.
And it was like an Anquan Bolden Torrey Smith, Jacoby Jones-ish, Quadri Ishmael. It's a little different, but I think I don't think that Des Bryant was a guy that was a reliable a piece that was a plug-in, but as far as a system, the way that the Baltimore system is, he's not built for our system.
Gotcha.
And obviously, I wanted to talk about Vincent Jackson. Vincent Jackson, rest in peace, former wide receiver for those San Diego Superchargers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Messed up, man. CTE and alcoholism. If he was found in a hotel, it's just another case of, these guys, their blood, sweat, and tears are what they put in this game of football, and to see the NFL really not protecting these guys and to seeing what CTE is doing to these guys. Delilah and I were having a conversation about Aaron Hernandez, that documentary she brought up, and this is not just in the NFL. This goes back, like Delilah said it earlier before we started, college, high school, and the NFL has to do more to really protect these guys and really get them the help that they need. And it's just sad, man. Vincent Jackson is one of my favorite wide receivers. I personally think he could be considered, to me, Hall of Fame, but that's a debate for another day. But I just wanted to say that, rest in peace, my prayers and thoughts to his family. His family did donate his brain to science. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And that's something I definitely think we need to address for another day, because I'm glad you brought in the Aaron Hernandez piece that we talked about. You got Vincent Jackson. We can go back to Junior Seau.
Dave
Dorsey.
A lot of these guys, Dorsey. Yeah, right. What's the guy?
He started it, really.
Was it Andre Waters? Is he the guy from Philly, or is it who's the other guy? Yeah, one of those guys from Philly also had. But they were highly publicized. Essentially, what I'm saying though is that I'm somebody that played running back all throughout high school. I had 3 or 4 concussions before they were diagnosed as concussions. I was from that era where they give you the smelling salts.
Right. Smelling salt. Get back out there, son.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get back out there. Rub some dirt on it. That's my favorite thing. I always use.
Rub some dirt on it, buddy.
Rub some dirt on it. You'll be all right. Yeah, you'll be all right. But there's a lot with that, Nate. I'm going to bring it back to you real quick. There's a lot with that I think gets overlooked, so that we can get these guys out there for the almighty dollar.
Well, of course, because at the end of the day, it's all a business, and it's a profit. Obviously, the owners have to make, but I hate to say it's what these guys signed up for, and at the same time, it's just you should be protecting your investments as much as possible. Example, look at if y'all remember back in the mid 2000s, Chris Benoit. Unfortunately, I think he had CTE as well. Again, protecting your investments, and you just see that after a while what it does, what it does to you, and again, you're going to see guys like Luke Kuechly and Andrew Luck, step away from the game of football, because I really think, honestly and truthfully, because they don't want to be in the situations like Vincent Jackson, CT, or Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah,
sadly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen it with a lot of the old timers, right? That that they didn't take care of, and now they're finding we gotta take care of these guys. So that like the guys that we grew up seeing on teams were left to be on their own with all these awful issues with their brain and their body, and they didn't have money coming in anymore, so they would show a lot of these guys that we looked up to being left basically medically destitute, and you're like, what are we doing? It's like, so it is better, right? The science is a little better. They have a little bit more protocols now than what it was before, and obviously I think it being the 21st century, I think with you, Nate, they could be better and continue to grow with the science, right?
And I think that's where, and to kind of bring this back to Jim Brown, I think that's where you got to appreciate the Jim Browns and the Barry Sanders that played 10 years, and we look at it from the aspect of oh man, they still had some of their best years ahead of them. But we can't overlook the fact that when they have these interviews, and even with Jim Brown, they're coherent. They can still, have memory. They can talk.
Conversation.
They did in their game and things like that. And a lot of guys don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
So that's a shame. I'm glad, but we definitely got to. I definitely want you to go into that subject because it gets overlooked. It gets pushed under the rug, and now what's happening is if we cannot commit to the safety, you have a generation of kids that's parents are like, look, I don't want to put you essentially into these individual car wrecks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that, maybe later down the line, you have this PTSD from football or whatever that you don't know how to deal with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we got to get on top of that. We absolutely got to get on top of that.
Definitely.
So we good with that? That's all you got?
Yeah.
That's all my notes for this one.
Nate, that was good. Those were good notes.
I can dig it.
Thank you, Nate.
I'm telling you guys, tune in, man. My man Nate is coming with the notes. He's got all the lowdown, the information, all the good stuff. And I gotta shout out my, my little brothers up north. Since we've been around longer, my little brothers in Baltimore, I shout them blood. But I mean, they want to won 2 Super Bowls since we've even been there. So I'm not gonna, shout out to
There you go.
Shout out to y'all. All right, Nate, I'm gonna bring you back on a little bit later. All right, man.
Sounds good.
Let's go. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving right along, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on up. We are heading into my favorite part of the show. My favorite parts of the show, diversity with Delilah.
Look at that.
Let's go, Delilah Crespo, diversity with Delilah. What's up, Delilah? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? So, one, we couldn't end Black History Month without recognizing Jennifer King, the first Black woman to be promoted to a full-time coaching position with the NFL with the football team, right? Way grow this team, right? Back from its way racist past.
Right.
Look at that. They changed their name and look at that. They hired the first Black woman to be a full-time coach. There you go.
The name, the previous owner, because last week, remember, we were honoring, the first Black, first Black player, and
Lord Taliaferro. Mm-hmm.
He didn't want his football team to play, a Black guys in the league. So, all right, but here we go. Progress, right, guys? All right. So, Jennifer King, she's a North Carolina girl, born and raised in North Carolina.
Well, right up Sean's country.
Let's go.
She attended Guilford College, where she played college basketball and softball. She graduated with a degree in sports management in 2006. She then went to play for the Women's Football Alliance, where she was a quarterback and a wide receiver. All right, homegirl, yes.
Okay.
For the Carolina Phoenix from 2006 to 2017. She was also a defensive back and a wide receiver for the New York Sharks in 2018.
Wow.
Okay. She also played safety for the DC Divas in 2019. So, all right. So,
Divas.
While she was being a player, she was also coaching. She was also an assistant coach at Greensboro College from 2006 to 2016. Where she took that team to a few tournaments, NCAA tournaments. In 2016, she was hired as head coach at Johnson & Wales University in North Carolina, where she turned around a program that had only existed for 2 years prior to that, took them to the national championship within 2 seasons.
Wow.
So, she's got a lot of experience. She was also one of 40 women to attend the NFL's Women's Forum in 2018, because that's, when the NFL kind of started to promote diversity, not just racially and ethnically, but also to bring more women.
Sure.
Where she met then Carolina Panthers head coach Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera, there you go.
And you know, she expressed her interest at working for the NFL. She was hired to intern for Carolina Panthers. Yeah.
No.
And what happened? She got her first full-time coaching gig in 2018 as an assistant wide receiver under Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera. There you go.
So she started interning with, she interned there, and then she actually got promoted in 2020, right, which was this football season, to full-time. So kudos to her, first Black woman to become a full-time coach in the NFL. And I just thought it was really wonderful that it was a Latino coach who was like, let's get you in this program. Come on in, right? So, but I knew that Sean would love the connection between both of them. So she interned with Carolina under Ron Rivera, came back and interned again at Washington, and then got a full-time gig. So
she had a full-time job.
Jennifer King. Yes, kudos.
Right.
Also, next month is Women's History Month, so
you go.
We're celebrating a black woman in Black History Month, and we're leading into Women's.
Let's go. What a perfect way to segue. I just have one question, Delilah. Do you happen to know how old Jennifer King is?
No, I actually didn't look up her age because Okay.
All right. Oh, right.
Never ask a woman her age, Sean.
Look, forgive me, Catherine. Catherine, I love you, but I might have to go talk to Jennifer King. Let's go.
Hey, now.
Look, let me stop before I get in trouble.
Yeah, you don't get in trouble, son. She's watching this.
Oh, wait, I Googled it. She is 36.
Oh, look at Sean. You shouldn't have told him that.
Sorry, man.
36.
Jennifer King, baby. Let's go.
No, but congratulations, Jennifer King. Like, I wish you a really long career with the NFL, and I hope you get even higher positions from assistant. So,
well deserved.
Maybe we'll see a female head coach in the future.
Well, that would be something, now, wouldn't it? Right? That would definitely be
there. We had one in the NBA. When we had one with Popovich when it was down.
Right, when he went down, that's right.
So we did have one in the NBA. Progress is being made, ladies and gentlemen. 2021, progress is being made. Shout out to Delilah, because I absolutely love that. That was a great piece and a great segue into next month, ladies and gentlemen. March starts Women's History Month, so look forward to that. Because Delilah, I already know you got a bunch of people.
Well, there's not a lot of women in the NFL yet. There's a lot more than before, but we'll make it work. We'll
figure it out.
We'll get there. Let's go. All right, man. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to topic number 4. My guy's in his happy place because he's breaking down. I mean, you tell me this. You guys
put it down. Let it be broke, man. Come on. This is what we live for, right? It's the NFL draft,
right?
This is what we're doing. This is the kind of stuff.
Nick, man, if you joined us last week, guys, Nick brought us this draft analysis, talking about the quarterbacks, talking about Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, all these guys. We mixed and matched, figured out where we're going to put them and this and that. But Nick, I'm sending it right to you right now, man. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the quarterback if you have no line.
Well, and that's the great thing about this draft is there's no shortage of top quality linemen in this draft. Yes. And that's and it's amazing too, because right at the top, you start with Penei Sewell. This is a kid, offensive tackle, 6'6", 325. Guy's a beast. He was get this. You don't see this very often. I'd have to double check on this one, but he won both the Outland and the Morris Trophy, which the Outland is the best interior lineman. And the Morris, of course, is the best offensive lineman. Now, he won both those awards in the same year. That was for 2019 because he opted out of 2020, as you know, and decided to declare himself for the NFL draft. So even though he's missed a year, he's still rated the number 1 tackle coming out in this draft. And I'm telling you, this guy's a beast, though. I mean, he truly is. He's got the speed. He's got the hands. He's got it all. This is the guy. And I tell you, the first team available that really could use, depending on how the quarterback thing goes, man, if I'm Miami sitting there at number 3, I got to think Penei Sewell. Now, some people have said the Jets because if they decide to keep Sam Darnold, you obviously need somebody to help protect Sam Darnold. So he could go 2 to the Jets. But I'm looking more to Miami pick here with Penei Sewell. You want to protect – well, see, the thing is, too, you want to protect Tua. Tua's a left-handed quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. So you got to put him there on the right tackle side to make sure that you can protect the blind side of Mr. Tua Tagovailoa. So I look at Miami at 3, possibly as a landing spot for Penei. If the Jets decide to keep Sam Darnold, he could end up with the Jets. So either way, but Penei is definitely probably going to go top 3. Obviously, we all know number 1 is probably going to be Trevor Lawrence. So I would think Sewell is one of the next 2 picks without a doubt. Again, you got an alignment. The guy, 6'6", 325. The guy's just a beast at his position, man. The guy is just coaches should be salivating over this kid. When you look at tape of him too, like he's amazing. But I actually want to talk about the next, and not just because he's from the beloved Northwestern, which is my Big Ten school here around these parts. But Rashon Slater is the offensive tackle. He's the he's an offensive tackle, 6'3", 305, out of Northwestern. Now here's the thing, though. Here's one of the impressive parts with him is he sat out his senior season as well because of the COVID. So he didn't play this year either, but he was Big Ten all conferences freshman year. And junior year, he allowed 0 sacks. Wow. Now that, for being a Big Ten offensive lineman to allow with the teams you play in the Big Ten, and he allowed 0 sacks his junior year. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is a guy you want on your team. This guy, he's like the blanket. You're not going to get past him. You're not going to get through him. You're not going to get around him. You're not going to cut under him. That sort of, this kid has all the tools. And I'm looking at a Cincinnati sitting there at number 5. You need somebody to protect Joe Burrow, don't you? Because that guy is your future. You invested all that money in that number 1 pick. Yeah. So I'm just sitting there. Cincinnati sitting there at 5. I'm sure Rashon is available. Now the Cincinnati may have a couple other needs, but I'm telling you, can't go wrong with a guy like this, man, who could play on that line, protect Joe Burrow. I could see Cincinnati possibly taking Slater at 5. And that's why I said that's already, think about that. That could possibly be 2 offensive linemen in the top 5. As much as they say that the quarterbacks will go right away, the other 2 picks could be offensive linemen. Right. You could have 1, 2, you could have 1, 2 quarterbacks and then 3 linemen, 4 quarterback, 5 linemen again. So that's what I'm saying. Offense is the big thing, right? Offense is how the NFL is structured now. Everybody wants the offense. Everybody wants the scoring. Well, hell, you need somebody to protect the quarterback, right? Boom, more scoring. So there you go. Yep. Number 3 is an interesting one because it's not that Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State. Now, again, another Big Ten, big 6'4", 313 guy. He's a guard, so he plays in the inside. But he was the 2020 Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. Okay. And that's not no small feat in the Big Ten, because if you know anything about college football, the Big Ten is known for their linemen. Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State, these guys always produce major linemen for the draft. They always got some offensive linemen from one of these Big Ten schools always have linemen that get drafted first round. Man, it's phenomenal. And that Wyatt Davis is no different. He opted out. It's funny because he opted out initially, and then when the Big Ten decided to play, he opted back in, which probably helped his draft stock a lot more if he not played. But like I said, because he ended up being the 2020 Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. So Wyatt Davis went probably from somewhere from the back end to number 3. As listed here in this draft. So I mean, again, a kid who's got hands, he's got some speed. He's on the line, he's good. This is what you want. See, these are the kind of kids you want because they're also coached really well. See, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, when you have offensive line coaches and you have, you can always tell a well-coached team by like penalty, the least amount of penalties. Guys who are always, like you said, don't allow very many sacks. They're very disciplined. They don't get a lot of, offside penalties or movement penalties and things like that. These are the kind of guys you want coming out of college to protect, ready to go to that next level and play in the pro system. Wyatt Davis right now is listed as about the 3rd prospect. And I'm looking at 16 with Arizona. Because somebody's got to protect Kyler Murray, don't they? Right. Why not this? I mean, again, Kyler, Arizona may have, maybe a little defensive help they may need. But again, when you can bolster your offensive line with a young quarterback like Kyler Murray, I think Wyatt Davis could be a great fit there. Arizona, number 16, has that 16 pick, and I'm sure Wyatt could be floating around there around this time, and then there you go. So that could be a great, pick possibly for the Cardinals. The next guy on my list is very intriguing to me because he's from USC. And USC, they have their program, but they're known for the quarterbacks and the defensive ends, or the corners, safeties, and others. But you got this Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman, 6'4", 315. The guy's a monster. But he won the Morris Trophy last year, 2020. Or, again, best offensive lineman. So here's a kid, he considered entering the draft last year, actually. And it's probably good that he did. He returned for his junior year, and look what happened. He wins the Morris Trophy. Bada bing, bada boom. You're looking at number 4 on the list of offensive linemen coming out of the draft. Now, here's the thing for me, because I tell you something. He's right up there in that area of that 1920 where my beloved Bears sits at number 20.
Washington.
And your Washington football team, Sean, sits there at number 19. But I'm thinking if the Bears don't go quarterback in the draft and Elijah Tucker's available, I think this is a great spot for the Bears to really sew up part of that offensive line that we so desperatly need to sew up. For any Bears fan, you know that. So Elijah Vera Tucker, another one of these guys, 6'4", 315. The guy's a monster coming out. You're looking at 1920-ish, 21-ish area. So it could be a landing spot for the Bears if Washington decides to go O-line to protect Alex Smith, if they're going to start him this year. If Riverboat Ron decides to gamble with Alex one more year, maybe you guys need a lineman to bolster up some of that thing. Right. You guys think about Elijah Vera Tucker. Possibility for you guys as well. Or even the Chargers at 13. I was looking at that too. The Chargers themselves, could still use a little line hook to protect, Justin Herbert there. And they have the number 13 pick in this draft, the old Chargers. So, again, that's another possibility for, a couple of those guys in there, sitting there at 3-4, again, with Wyatt Davis, maybe Elijah Vera Tucker, that sort of thing. Kristen Darasaw is another guy. I've got him here at 5 listed kind of on, my list when looking through all this stuff. Virginia Tech, so he's up from your neck of the woods, Sean. Virginia Tech offensive tackle.
But I like the area.
I know, but yeah, 6'5", 314. Darasaw is just one of those reliable guys. He became a starter in 2018, played all 13 games in 2019 and all his games in 2020. So this kid is reliable. He's durable, obviously. Again, offensive tackles are always at a premium. You always need an offensive tackle, man. You always want to protect the quarterback. Regardless of what side the guy plays, you want to get the quarterback protected. So this is another kid, again, and Darasaw, this could be one of the last O-linemen we see in the first round, as it were, because, again, we only go through 32 picks in the first round, and with a lot of other things that people need, receivers and quarterbacks and ends and stuff. So that's why I kind of listed these 5 guys as the top 5 guys I think will go in the first round somewhere. And so Darasaw, you could be looking at a Cleveland at 26. Baker Mayfield could use some more protection. So maybe Darasaw goes there. Could go a little bit earlier. Depends. Some people have flip-flopped these, and when you look at the experts and their mock drafts, some of these guys are flip-flopped and that sort of thing.
It's true. No, you're right. They do.
So that's, but that's what I kind of looked at my stuff. I tried to look at some of these guys. I tried to watch what I could, go on YouTube and see a couple of videos just to see what guys were doing. Right. So this is kind of the way I listed them, the kind of way I put them and where I think they might go. But again, this is a really good year, a draft year, I think, for offensive linemen. Now, just 2 other names real quickly. Trey Smith out of Tennessee and Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan are 2 other guys, depending on how teams go. If someone picks up their quarterback early, now you're looking at early second-round guys, to pick up for your offensive line. These are 2 guys. You could also take Trey Smith out of Tennessee, Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. So that's my reporting for this week on the offensive line. Again, I'm excited. The draft is coming up. We know April 29th. I love the big guys up front. Who doesn't love a good offensive line? Obviously, my 85 Bears were one of the best ever. So I'm very partial to the offensive line.
We had the Hogs.
Plus, we got a couple of Big Ten guys here who could go first round. So that always makes me excited when I can see the Big Ten guys get out there and do some stuff. So, again, very rich draft this year for offensive linemen. And, I'm really excited to see where these guys end up. Should be a really great year for offensive linemen.
I love that. I'm going to bring Nate back in here.
I don't know who they drafted. No, it's like I was reading Nate's comment. I was reading Nate's comment who's coming in now. He said, didn't Cleveland draft an old lineman last year? I'm like, you know what? I don't know who they
That's very possible. But again, depending on what you're doing at 26, you know, a lot of the pieces are in place for Cleveland. If you think about it, the defense is set. You have your receivers for the most part pretty set. Your backfield is set. What's wrong with bolstering the offensive line with a first-string offensive tackle? I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I think again it could, especially with Baker, because I think I feel this is just me. Maybe you guys can corroborate this or whatever you think. I still think not everybody is sold on Baker Mayfield, and so I think Baker still has, in some ways, something to prove. I know they made the playoffs this year. They made a decent little run, whatever.
Right.
But I still think the verdict is out on Baker, and I think. The more you can bolster him, I think the more you can put around him to help him, the better off Baker can be. So that's why I say if you have this opportunity and you're not drafting anything else at 26, pick up one of these guys will be available at the end of the first round. You pick them up, boom, your offensive line just becomes that much better.
Cameron, the answer is April 29th is the first day of the draft. To answer your question.
It's a Thursday, right? April 29th.
And so Nate, I'm going to come to you because you and I, with your situation, which the question you asked earlier about Orlando Brown Jr., you guys like he's asking for a lot. I know Washington is starting to have conversation with Brandon Sheriff because this year we're either going to have to franchise tag him at like 17 mil or give him a long-term contract. And he's an inside guy, but he has injury issues. So, and Nick, I'm gonna come to you in a minute, Nate. But I gotta say thank you to Nick because I love what you put in because
that was a good
I
breakdown.
At 2 or 3 of these guys, and I'm like, Washington needs to focus on them.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good breakdown.
No, you're right.
We need to focus on them. But Nate,
Washington could be a good pick.
Right, but so Nate, I mean, if you want to speak on that Orlando Brown situation. Do you let Brown go for some picks or something and then try to bolster that line?
I said it last week. To me, he was drafted as a right tackle. I mean, when he was in college, I believe Oklahoma, he did play left and right. So my only thing is him wanting out. Is it for the right reasons or selfish reasons? I understand because Ronnie Stanley was injured, season-ending injury. He played he filled in when needed. And yes, he didn't make the Pro Bowl. But he is going to require I'm requiring at least two first-round picks, if not 2 first-round picks and a player. And I said, and then let me look back on my notes here. I did say a potential landing spot to help him: Seattle, Chicago, Jacksonville, San Diego, Miami, Dallas, Indianapolis. So right there are all 7 potential teams that could. Hey, listen, we'll gladly take. We can give you we can give you a first round this year, and maybe a potential first round next year for him, because again, now you have your left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle. Now as Baltimore, you have to address because now Orlando Brown has put us in this now a sticky situation where now the offensive line now has to be even more retooled. So it's more work that has to now be put in. And
sure.
It wouldn't surprise me. I'm looking at this draft and I'm looking at the guy at Michigan Nick was talking about could be a potential, but again, it's all about who's there. And it's all about what Baltimore is going to address first in the draft. So if whatever they don't address in free agency, Baltimore always addresses it in free agency, in the draft, excuse me.
In the draft, right.
And that's going to be key. That's going to be absolutely key because again, we're spotlighting all these things for you guys, but this stuff changes so much. Like daily. I go to the end of the last show when Nick said, hey, next week maybe Carson Wentz will be traded. And the first thing we talked about is Wentz got traded. You know what I mean? We talked about, like our first show, we talked about Matthew Stafford. Maybe he got traded. The next week he got traded.
Yeah, and then he was gone.
So much. So much.
So we still haven't Deshaun Watson, with him in Houston. So, I mean, we don't know what that's going to be. I mean, that trade could really change the dynamic of the draft, and then where if he's either going to go to Jets, Dolphins.
Right.
There's a lot.
I'm excited about the free agency in a few weeks, like March 15th.
Well, yeah, March 17th. That's the new league year. Yeah. March 17th.
Definitely.
They're gonna.
That's when all these deals become official.
March 15th, you can start kind of looking at it, but yeah, March 17th is official.
Yeah. So I'm glad. Hey, we're gonna try to bring this last part out here. Topic 5 real quick, because we're already doing it, but I want us to actually lock this in. One last
that was a
word.
Good comment.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna go this way first, and we're gonna go clockwise. So Delilah, one last thing briefly that you got.
Well, I want to read Cameron's comment because I'm trying to respect our viewers. Cameron thinks, Nick, you should go work for the NFL scouting for college prospects.
Oh, well,
that's how good your information. That's how good your information was. So kudos.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love, my friend.
Now for my last word, I hopefully by the time we have our next show, JJ Watts makes a decision. He says, stop pushing. He released a tweet like, give me time, right? He has to think about it. So maybe, next week we'll see where JJ Watts lands. If it's one of the picks that Nate made or somewhere completely different, who knows? Because this NFL's been a little, off kilter this season. So, but yeah, looking forward to see if by next week JJ Watts will be in a new home.
Nice. Nick?
Okay, so the guy we've been talking about every week is Deshaun Watson. And as I listen more and more, and as I kind of look more and more, and everybody has their rumors and innuendo or where he's going, this is what's going to happen, this is what it's going to take to get him. Texans the GM still says we're not going to trade him. But if I'm the Chicago Bears, and the more and more I think about this, and maybe this is a hot take for you guys, I think the Bears need to do whatever they need to do to bring Deshaun Watson here. Even if they have to sell the damn farm. I think your defense is ready to play. It's Super Bowl ready. You need an offense. And I think if you can find a way to get Deshaun Watson, you sell whatever. Give him what's her name? What's the lady's give him Lady McCaskey, the owner. Give him her to give Virginia. Give him everybody. Give them whatever they want. Give them whatever they ask for. Give them the popcorn vendors, give them the beer vendors. You give them whatever they ask for, and you get Deshaun Watson here in Chicago. And bring yourselves that quarterback you've always dreamt of but never had. Because I think now is the time. If you're serious, if you're telling me that Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are on their last leg, and then if I'm both of those guys, I'm like, I need to do whatever I need to do to make this happen immediately. So my thought is this. You sell whatever you need to. You bring the house. You give Houston whatever the hell they want, and you get Deshaun Watson here to Chicago. That's my take.
There we go. Nate,
all right. Ooh.
Well, I'm looking forward to free agency March 17th. I really do think, again, with the NFL salary cap raised $180 million, some teams are going to make some business decisions, and maybe moves that may go, oh wow, that caught me off by surprise. Because I'm going to say this right here, right now. Whatever happens in free agency this year, it's going to really set in stone how next year is going to be. We're going to have instantly our contenders and our pretenders with this offseason because, again, I believe it's Pittsburgh and Kansas City that have, I'm looking at them more. Tampa Bay, guys are going to want to look, are going to be looking for paydays. And again, I don't know if guys are going to be willing to hear the grass is green on the other side. So I think this off season sets stone how this upcoming NFL season looks.
Yeah.
I like that.
True.
And,
true,
for me, real quick, got to shout out my man, lives in Chicago. He's a clothes designer, Hustle Junkies. He's brand man, HJ and Jr. Yo,
nice.
Gotta shout him out. My man, my cousin, my family, Jabari Holmes, man. Definitely gotta shout you out, man. And we're gonna start putting stuff out here. I'm gonna wear stuff every week because I gotta help you do your thing. You know what I'm saying? We already know you love and watch the show. My last word, and I don't know if it was Nate or Delilah, one of y'all posted it. Alex Smith recently was in the news, and he was talking about Colin Kaepernick and how he thinks it is a tragedy that Colin is not in the league. I already had a very, very high view and an image of Alex Smith, but it just went through the roof. I think it's absolutely a blasphemous situation that we can even go through everything we went through this year with in the beginning of the season, the beginning of the Super Bowl, having the Black National Anthem sang. And it's like, hey, here you go. And it's great. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But let's be honest. This started because a man took a stand. And y'all have now
took a knee,
destroyed him. You have castrated him. You have hung him out. And you have kicked him out of this league. And then now you want to say, oh, he was right. We're sorry. But the man still is not employed. That's a problem. Right. That's a problem that's bigger than the game of football that we play. But I got to shout out Alex Smith because Alex Smith came out and said, that's a problem. That's an issue. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? How can we seriously talk about this racial justice and how we progressed in doing this while we're still holding on to that same thing? And that's a bigger issue that's beyond football. We got to understand that with how things are playing out, be very, very careful in a lot of this stuff because I love Alex and I love that stuff.
Shout out to him, showing he's a grown man.
Take a stand like Colin did. Sometimes you're gonna get that, they're gonna get that from them. But I'm glad that players are stepping up. I would like the owners to step up and say something. Right. I'd like them to come out their pocket with me. But at the same time, you got a guy like Alex Smith. Shout out to my man. That's what's up.
Definitely. There you go.
So that's what's up. So, guys, hey, it's been another great week. We brought you whatever we had, whatever we found, the good information. The stuff is still flowing. Honestly, we can keep this thing going all night long because there's so much information. There's so much to talk about each point.
True.
But we got to leave you a little something so that you come back next week, guys. We want you back, baby.
Come on back.
So I'm going to go around clockwise. I am Sean Spencer.
Delilah Crespo.
Nick
Rosario.
And Nathan Snell.
Yeah. And this is the Let's Talk Football Roundtable. See you next week, 8 o'clock. Don't miss it.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys.